Similar to most at the current moment, I do not enjoy leveling in Destiny 2 right now. I do not enjoy the power grind. I think it's boring. I think it's bland. I think it's repetitive. I think it takes a very long time. Not the biggest fan. But they have made loads of changes to the leveling grind, the power grind, the amount of rewards that drop, the difficulty of the higher end of the grind, whole bunch of stuff. Now, I haven't really read a lot of the details on this stuff because I don't like reading a lot of words. I just want to play the game instead. So here's the battle plan, okay? My Warlock is currently 503 power. That's my highest power level character. And I was power grinding maybe about a week or two ago, and I was gaining like 1 overall power level like every 45 minutes, every hour, something like that. It took a while. What I want to do today is just kind of go in blind, rip a couple solo ops, rip a couple fire team ops, do like maybe an hour of power grinding, see how the difficulties of the fixed deltas feel, see how many power levels I gain in about an hour, and just see how the overall experience feels at the current moment with all of the changes that have been made, and see if power leveling feels a little bit more enjoyable than it did before. And it is also worth noting that in addition to all of the power level changes that they have made so far, there are additional ones coming, I believe specifically in Renegades. The huge one for me personally is that when you go to the portal, and this is going to significantly incentivize activity diversity, playing a bunch of different activities as opposed to just spamming the same exact one, whichever one is the quickest. These green engrams right here in Renegades are going to drop powerful gear, so they will contribute towards the power grind, which is going to make the power grind so... Oh wait, that's now? I thought that wasn't until Renegade. Oh, that's a big deal. That is the #1 thing I was the most excited for. And the reason I'm so excited for something like that, and I think that that's going to make the power grind feel so much better, is that previously if you wanted to power grind, you would just pull up this menu and you'd be like, oh, Caldera's the fastest. I'm just going to spam that over a billion times. I'm going to run Caldera until my fingers fall off. But now, the fastest way to power grind, theoretically, if you're doing solo ops, right, would be to do K1 logistics, and then you get the loot from doing it base, right? But then you also get the 3 bonus engrams, which will also all 3 will drop power, right? But then those bonus engrams won't be on this node anymore. So then you'll be like, okay, now we'll do creation, which has 3 bonus engrams, because then you'll get the power, theoretically, right? You'll get the powerful drop from that, plus 3 additional powerful drops from the bonus engrams, and then those bonus engrams will go away. And you're basically going to be incentivized to hit every single node, so you can basically collect all the green engrams. And if I'm not mistaken, when you do an op, it makes bonus green engrams available in other ops. So like if I do like Battleground Oracle and I complete it, then one of the rewards potentially, I think, or no, is that how that works? Or no, that's from collecting the daily challenges, right? Or is it both? No, it's the weekly challenges. I think it's for completing activities as well. Okay, so it is both. Okay, so you get it from the weekly. And then so theoretically, if I do like mission Battleground Oracle, I'll complete it. I'll get the powerful drop. I'll get 3 extra powerful drops from the bonus engram. It might also give me bonus drops added to some of the solo ops, and then I can come back into solo ops and then do some of the bonus drops. Now, another change that was made that's pretty significant is we now have static power deltas. As you can see right here, if I want to do ultimate level content, I am locked at -30. So now when I put on negative modifiers, the negative modifiers don't impact the power level of the activity anymore. They only add whatever the modifier is, and that increases my score, right? But I am hard locked -40. And then Grandmaster is hard locked -25, Master is 20, Expert is 15, Advanced is 10, and then Normal is you are on level, right? My knee-jerk reaction to that is that sounds bad. And the reason my knee-jerk reaction to that sounds bad is because then in my mind, I'm like, well, that's kind of annoying because I still have to throw on a ton of these annoying modifiers. And when my level goes up, the activity is not going to get easier. But that's my knee-jerk reaction before I've even tried it, before I've even played it. So I don't want to have such a conclusive opinion before I actually even hop in. That's just like, that's the first thing that pops in my mind when I'm thinking like, oh, I'm hard locked -30 permanently. Don't know how I feel about that. It takes less to get an A+ now. That's potentially a big deal because previously what I would always put on to be able to get enough, so I would get like halfway through B+, then with the bonus objective, you get A+ and you get the power drop. So I would always do Banes, and then I would do Touche, and then I would typically have to do like 1 additional thing, which honestly, it looks like I don't need to do that additional thing anymore. 1 set of Banes and a time limit gives me A? Really? Let me try 1 set of Banes. Locked loadouts, so we're not required, so theoretically, if you want to use a build that isn't using featured gear. So we're barely at B+. Previously, I would have to be like midway through this bar with the bonus objective to be able to get A and get a powerful drop. But right here, we're like barely there. So we'll see if that's enough. Currently 503. And this is, I think everything is maxed out right now. 503, 503, 503. Literally all my gear is 503 except for my mint retrograde, which is 504, and my Sinencia, which is 504 as well. One part of me is like, dude, I have to play every... Like, to get from 500 to 550 and to get tier 5 gear, I have to play everything at minus 30. Part of me hates that. But then the other part of me is like, it makes sense that to get the best gear in the game, I need to do things that are hard. Or I need to fight enemies that are challenging. Like, that feels reasonable. They're also, like, I'm not gonna lie, they're not that hard. I mean, I got this Barrier Knight, right? Give him the mint. Throw one of those. I mean, they're not that tough. I think part of the reason is because I'm so used to old Destiny power deltas where Grandmaster Nightfalls. What were we in Grandmaster Nightfalls? Were we minus 20 or minus 25? Minus 25? My brain hears minus 30 and it's like, oh God, that's harder than old Grandmaster Nightfall. The actual equivalent to minus 25 to Grandmaster Nightfall power deltas, the actual equivalent to that nowadays after all of like the number reworks and stuff like that and the retooling, I think in the current system it's like minus 40, right? I don't know. Is it elitist of me to say that minus 30 does not feel that bad? And this is the hardest it's gonna get too, you know what I mean? Like from a power level delta perspective, it ain't getting harder. It's really not that bad. I feel like it sounds way worse than it actually is, because our brains are so hardwired to think like, oh, minus 25 is what old Grandmaster was, and we're still kind of in that mindset. You know, if you're playing ultimate level content to get tier 5 gear, I think it's reasonable that you have to walk in with a decent build. I don't think that's crazy. Here's the moment of truth, though. How is the loot looking? So I'm seeing 4 engrams. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, here's the moment of truth. So one of them is a 505. So that's a +1. This one is useless. Another 505, so that's a plus. Okay, so I'm getting +2s. I'm getting +2s. Wait, what was my score? Oh, I got an A+? Okay, so if you put on Banes and locked loadouts, you don't even have to do Avant-Garde. You don't even have to do Touche. You don't even have to do like the new gear, featured gear stuff. So wait, I did 1 run and I got 5 +2 drops. So now all the green engrams are gone here, so I don't really want to do K1 logistics again. I want to now pick a node that's going to give me 3 green drops, so I can get all those extra drops, get all those bonus drops. So now I'll load up Creation, which has 3 bonus drops. And then I just throw on Banes and then we call it a day. I was at 1.6 mil as well. I think, can I throw on like Void Surge? That puts me at 1.4 mil, but with the bonus objective, I'd get to 1.5, right? Shoot for B+. Okay. If I'm doing that, then maybe I'll go Touche then. One critique that I do have of the leveling system still at the current moment, I wish it would tell you what your final score would be and therefore what rewards you would get, both if you complete the bonus objective and if you don't complete. Like, I shouldn't have to just know what the magic number is, that if I set the modifiers up that way and I get the bonus objective done, then it'll pull me into A+ territory. It should just tell me what my score will be if I also complete the bonus objective. I mean, like, dude, I really don't mean to sound elitist. I truly don't. And I sincerely apologize if I do come off that way. This is so easy. Minus 30 is not, there's no way. This is a cakewalk. And it's not even like, oh, well, you're a streamer, you play the game all day, you're good at the game. It's like, dude, I'm standing still on a plate, killing everything with 1 bullet. And if it's an orange bar, I kill it in 2 bullets. Ultimate conquests are minus 50. I agree, we still have a big problem where we really don't have anything that has replaced what Grandmaster Nightfalls were. It's nice that conquests are now repeatable. I think that's a good thing, but we still need some sort of like exclusive loot or desirable rare loot through conquests. Because part of the big thing that made GM so awesome in Destiny for the longest time is when we were towards the end of the season and, you know, everyone had kind of done all the seasonal content. Can I please shoot your foot? Thank you. Everyone had already done all the seasonal content and whatnot. Like, what people still logged onto the game for was to run Grandmaster Nightfalls to try and get god rolls of adept weapons and all that good stuff, get a bunch of exotics. Oh my god, I just had a potentially crazy idea. Okay, so you know how, y'all know how exotic armor pieces drop with stat totals equivalent to what like tier 2 armor would drop with, and I've been complaining about it for months. Imagine this. what if all exotic armor pieces in the game drop with tier 2 stat totals, but then if you do a conquest, you are guaranteed an exotic armor piece drop that is a tier 4 stat total. So it could be 70 to 75. And then you can stick an exotic cipher in it to unlock the tuning slot, similar to how you could stick an exotic cipher in an old exotic armor piece to unlock the artifice slot on it. People would farm conquests if you allow them to get juiced exotic rolls on conquests. Okay, now hold on a second. So I should have gotten 4 powerful drops there, right? So we got a 506. There's one of them. There's 506. Another 506. So there's our second drop. Another 506. And then there should be a 4th 506. Bang. Right there. Wait, I got 5. Why am I getting 5 drops? Either bonus focus or a prime. Gotcha. The one critique that I do have, though, if I'm currently 500 doing ultimate level content and I'm forced at minus 30, and I will always be forced at minus 30, whether I'm 500 or 550, then what is the point of going from 500 to 550? That is the one major critique I have. It makes sense why you would go through the rest of the levels because, you know, as you get your power level up, you gain access to the harder difficulties, and obviously gaining access to the higher difficulty activities will allow you to play them, and those higher difficult activities are going to be the ones that drop the higher tier loot. But once you're 500, you're already in ultimate mode. You can already do the ultimate content, and you'll be getting 500s from the, or you'll be getting tier 5s rather from the ultimate content. So what's the point of going past that? Oh my god, wait, think about it, okay? Right. So it's like, listen, you get your power level up so that you can do the higher difficulty activities, and as you do the higher difficulty activities and you're at lower power delta and whatnot, Grandmaster Ultimate, blah, 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 you get the higher tier gear, and then once you're at 500, you can do Ultimate, so you get the tier 5 gear, and then once you make your way from 500 to 550 by doing ultimate content as you accrue tier 5 gear, once you have 550, you unlock ultimate big boy giga slap your balls off conquests, and those are the only place that you can get tier 5 stat rolls of exotic armor, and you can farm them infinitely. You can farm them as much as you want. Like, I don't know, add like some exclusive guns behind that or something like that too. I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying we go the adept weapon route again, or maybe put some like flare costume, put like a shader that has like a 1% drop rate or something like that. Like, come on, like, oh my god, it's right there. It's right there. It's an okay idea, but it shouldn't be the only way to get tier 4 exotic armor. Tiered exotic armor should have launched with tiers. I don't disagree. I do not disagree at all that, well, do I disagree on tiered exotic armor? Do we want exotic armor to be tiered? I mean, the only thing a tier means on armor is how many total stat points it has. So for all intents and purposes, exotic armor already is tiered. It's just all tier 2. It doesn't say that it's tier 2, but the only thing that the tier of an armor piece determines is how many total stat points it has. So automatically, every single armor piece in the game, exotic or legendary, whether or not it says it has a tier, is tier. And energy. Oh, that's true. That is also true. Once you get a tier 4 or a tier 5, you get the 11 energy instead of 10 energy. Which, wait a minute. Wait, dude. I would love to be able to have 11 energy on my exotic armor pieces. Bring exotic armor into the tiering system, okay? All exotic armor pieces in the game, at base, drop at tier 2. There is no such thing as a tier 1 piece of exotic armor. Once you get to a certain power level, then they start dropping at tier 3. I don't know what that power level would be, but whatever, is what it is. Once you hit max power, once you hit 550, you gain access to the hardest difficulty of conquests, where there is a weekly rotating farmable conquest that you can run as many times as you want that drops a guaranteed tier 4 piece of exotic armor every time, no matter what. And then, check it out, the way you transform a tier 4 piece of exotic armor into a tier 5 piece of exotic armor is you plug an exotic cipher into it. Similar to how we plugged in an exotic cipher to old exotic armor pieces, and that would unlock the artifice slot on them. If you have a tier 4 piece of exotic armor and you plug in an exotic cipher into it, it automatically takes the stat points to 75, and then it unlocks the tuning slot. And then you have a way to get 11 energy exotic armor. You have a way to get high stat roll exotic armor. You have an actual use for exotic ciphers, and you have a reason to grind to 550 so that you can play those difficult conquests. And you have an end game, so you actually have a reason to make builds, because at the current moment, you don't really have a reason to make builds in Destiny, because where are you going to use those builds? And then, stay with me here, you have something that you can farm on repeat as much as you want, a good reason to keep logging into the game, and you have a reason to actually go and hit 550. And these things will be hard, so you're going to need to team up with people, so you'll have a reason to actually play with friends and play with clannies. Now, be honest with me now, y'all. Be honest with me. Am I cooking or am I stupid? Craftable tier 5s? See, that I'm not on board with. And the main reason for that is because I do not think that the best loot in the entire game should be craftable. I don't think that's what the crafting system should be in the game. I think the crafting system is good to have in the game as a way for new and returning players to be able to very quickly get some curated good rolls of certain guns. I don't think it's healthy, though, for the game where the best of the best loot in the entire game, you go up to a podium and you click certain boxes and it's like, ta-da, I have the best loot now. All right, so hold up. Sorry, I got sidetracked a little bit from the loot journey. So I think we got all 507s. So 1, 2, 3 drops. 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 drops. Damn. Another thing, too, is like what would theoretically be annoying typically is that infusing all this stuff up with all the unstable cores would be annoying, but they're removing unstable cores. So now that I've done that activity, the bonus engrams on that are gone. So now I want to do something else. Because a problem of the previous system was, let's say theoretically Cabal's Watch was the fastest thing to run. Previously, all you would do, the game plan, would be run Cabal's Watch 100 times. But now, even if Cabal's Watch was the fastest thing to run, I still don't want to spam run this, because even if it would be faster, I'm going to get more overall loot from doing the other stuff because of these bonus engrams. Now I can justify pulling them and doing Glassway because I get 3 bonus drops from Glassway. I don't want to get hit with the paid by Bungie allegations, you know? I don't want to see the Shiltix comments going on, but like, listen, you know, at the end of the day, game's got to recognize game. Oh, what's that? Sorry, guys, I'm getting a phone call. Yes, hello? Yeah, this is him. Oh, the check did clear? Oh, the check just cleared? Okay. Okay, thank you. It's and you made sure it was 7 figures, right? Unlike the previous 6-figure checks? Okay, great. My honest thoughts on the power changes is this might be the best Destiny has ever been. I think it's a perfect time to come back to the game, truly. I don't think they could do better. Mac, what will you do when you hit max power super fast? Well, and that's the next problem Bungie has to solve now. That's the next hurdle that they have to overcome. And I think that's where you need to look at really investing a lot into something like conquests to make them a replayable and rewarding experience where the highest difficulty of them is unlocked once you do hit max power. And that highest difficulty of said conquests is something that truly offers something that is really desirable in the game, something like the highest possible roll exotic armor pieces, or maybe even some exclusive weapons. Because it's a great question. I completely agree. What do you do once you hit max power? At the current moment, there isn't anything to do once you hit max power. In fact, I'll do you one better. Not only is there not anything to do once you hit max power, there's not even a reason to hit max power. There's not a reason to go above 500. With the small exception of 2 of the conquests, I believe, if you care about the Conqueror Seal, and maybe some niche ancillary benefits. Like, I think, what is it? If you hit, like, Guardian rank 11, which requires max power, then for events or something like that, you can get tier 5s from the battle pass or whatever it is, I think. Which, don't get me wrong, that's fine. But, like, none of those things are replayable. They need a replayable experience that is genuinely challenging, that has genuinely good rewards. Conquests are replayable. They are replayable, but there's no reason to replay them at the current moment. Making something replayable isn't enough. You need to give people a reason to replay it. Hardest content should have armor with the best set bonus. Yeah, you could also throw a unique legendary armor set behind this theoretical max power level difficulty of Conquest that is only obtainable through there. You could totally do that as well, yeah. I don't know if I would want them to go back to the Adept. Not sure if I would be on board with that. I think there's a more interesting path that they could take. Okay. So, 1 drop, 2 drops, 3, 4. So that time I only got 5 drops, it looks like. So I guess Reclaim gives a little bit of extra drops compared to something like Glassway. But still, like, because of those bonus engrams, it's still overall a better and more rewarding thing for me to have run Glassway than to just run that same exact Reclaim activity previously, because I would not have gotten the bonus drops from that Reclaim activity again. So I don't know how long we've been running. We spent probably, I'd guess, about 15 minutes in that Reclaim, 15 minutes in that Glassway. and then 5 to 6 minutes in each of those solo ops. And we started at 503 and we're currently at 507. And I know that this is going to be the steepest climb because, correct me if I'm wrong, 500 to 550 you get +2s, but then it's like 400 to 500 you get +3s, I think. And then 300 to 400 you get +4s or something like that. So in about, I would say, 40 minutes we got about 4.5 power levels. Previously that would have taken probably 4 to 5 hours. It's definitely a good start. Jump in and check a pinnacle out. Okay, let's do the new one. Let's do heliostat. 3 bonus engrams. We'll do that plus pressure cooker, and then we'll give ourselves some benefits and let's cook. Alrighty, pinnacle op done. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as far as I can tell, we got the same amount of drops from doing a pinnacle op that we got from doing a fire team op. So honestly, the power grind feels significantly better. Still some work to be done for sure. God, if this is what the system was like on launch, I think it would have been a night and day difference in response. Still need old content to be brought into the gear tiering system, so that we can get tier 5 stuff from old raids, old dungeons, old pieces of content and stuff like that, so that 90% of the game isn't like effectively soft sunset. 90% might be a bit of an exaggeration, but you get what I mean, right? And I think now we're in a space where the power grind itself is definitely feeling like it's in a much better spot. It's feeling much better specifically when it comes to respecting your time. It's feeling much better when it comes to not requiring you to put on a whole bunch of really annoying modifiers on. And the biggest thing is it's feeling a lot better where it actually incentivizes you to play a bunch of different stuff because of the green bonus engram drops giving you powerful drops. Now I think where the focus needs to go on is catching up the rest of the game, getting some other end game in aside from just 4 feet raids, 5 feet raids, something that replaces that Grandmaster Nightfall experience, and something that's genuinely rewarding that people actually will want to play and replay and come and play week in, week out. And hey, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's get some strike specific loot. Let's get some 550 power level, end game, weekly rotating conquest specific loot. And make it a low drop rate if you want to. Make it a low drop rate. Give us that chase. That is our knee-jerk reaction, initial impressions to all of the power changes, all the portal changes, a couple ideas for how it could be made even better. Curious what y'all's ideas are as well. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.